Hello friends, how are you? So today I'm going to show you the pivot tables, how to create pivot tables and how to analyze the data using the pivot table. And pivot table, this is the most important tools from the Excels what we have, or the feature you can say as to analyze the data. You can pivot the data as with the way you want, depend upon your imaginations and how the data is given. So as we can see from my series, I'm always used the good data. I didn't mock up any data. So here again, I have taken the Kaggle competitions data, which is the sales data. And this data, as for your convenience, on plus this spreadsheet, if you want to practice, I'll put a link below, and so you can use it and try it and also see how I did it. Or other ways, you can also for sure stop and try to watch this video multiple times so you can see it. Okay, so without further delay, let's get into the actions. Let me put myself on the hide so I won't block any screen. Okay, I'm doing some zoom so you can see this data. So this data, basically this is this is the transactions data in the invoice transaction data. As you can see, let me go through the data. I already load this CSV into the Excel, and if you don't know, you can watch my, I believe, lecture 2 video to how to do that. Okay, so as you can see, these are the different invoices issues to different branch level, and then there are certain cities. If I see how many cities, so I have 3 cities here, and then these transaction has some customers type. I can quickly glance through, okay, only 2, maybe some member which might be paying, and then normal customer. Genders, they categorize into 2, male and female, and the different product line, right? And for sure, if this is an invoice, it has some unit price for some product, how many quantities it's get issued, taxes, the total amount of bill, what's the payment method, time, and also it's provide us the gross income, right? From that, it should be sales, but that's how the data, I haven't touched the data, simply just to load it. So this data we have total, if I show it to you, this is the 1000 records we have, right? So that's a fair amount of data to analyze. Okay, so we'll use the pivot table to analyze this data, right? To view the data and slice and dice in the different formats. So that's what the power of pivot is. Okay, so if I click on to the insert tab, right, and here you see I have a pivot table button. If you can click on this button, then basically Excel by default select the whole table, which is already get selected, and then it asks me whether you want on the existing worksheet, which is the same worksheet, or the new worksheet. If it's existing worksheet, then I have to provide the place where the cell, but I prefer to use the new worksheet, so just to keep my data original separate. And that's also the good practice, right? If you want to refresh, so it won't affect your analysis. I click OK, and tada, I have, so you get this as a blank. Okay, so this is as a blank pivot table area, and these are the pivot table fields. So this is how you will get it. So this pivot table, these are all the columns, and then we have the columns, values, and rows, right? I'll show you with the examples how it will come, and then it will come to you. If by mistake you want to, if you cancel this away, so this thing will go away, but you can just go to the analyze tab. Right now in Office 365 is called pivot table analyze, but older it's called analyze only. If you click on analyze under the pivot area and select this field button as list, as I selected it, this will come back. Okay, so let's say, if I want to see how many what's the distribution of the invoices by the gender, right? So how to do that? So if I'll do the distribution of invoices by gender, first I will click this gender and drop it to the row. Okay, once I do that, you see my female and male comes here, right, in the row. And then I'll just simply click on the invoices and put it in the value column. Okay, so Excel is smart enough that it says, okay, these are the count. So basically, if I see the female has the more buying little bit more than the male, because 1,000 product 501 is bought by the female and 499 is bought by the male. So I'll move this here as analysis and rename this tab to invoices by gender. It's always good to properly name your tabs as a good practice, right? So it's easy to do the way to recall when you cover it back, and it's a more clean approach. If you so if you want to, so that's one. Let's say if I want to do the same thing by the cities, right? If I want to analyze by the city, again, no problem. We can we can take it out, or maybe let me do the copy, right? So one way, okay, if you want, I can use that, but I'll want to preserve my work, so you can go back and look into it. Okay, so if I want to do by the cities, maybe I'll just preserve for the cities and you can work on the other. I simply take the gender away and then put the cities here, right? Click the city will come into the row. So now these are by invoices by the cities, right? So I'll just change the name for you. Okay, so that's good. Next thing, now we have seen for both by gender and by the city. So seems like cities level is almost like 33% is there. Now what about if I want to go by cities and gender and then see the invoices count? Okay, one way is, okay, I go back here and then create a new pivot table, did a okay, and then come here. So I want to do by cities and gender and then see by cities and gender what's my invoices count coming, not just by one. So what I'll do, so I'll do a cities, click cities, then I'll do a gender, and then I'll bring this invoices down here, and then it's showing the invoices here. Okay, so now this is my data. Let me tell you, so basically it's saying for the total count for this Mendeley is, maybe I'll increase the font so it's easy for you to see, is 332, which is 166 and 35, 162 and 117 by the female and male, and that's make it the total. Okay, so that's how this is. But if you don't want to, so this is how this is coming. If I want to bring that into the column, let's say, so that's a different way. So what I did is I moved the columns in the gender, right? Gender into the column. So this is a city, and it break down nicely for me, right? So it's giving me the cities total, and it's giving me vertically the different total as well. So that's it. So I move this gender to the columns. Okay, if you don't want this grand total to be shown, then what you can do, you come to the design tab, and then grand total, and turn off the rows and columns. Here you have multiple options, whether you want to just on the rows, on the columns, or turn it off. I don't want any row total, so I turn it off. Okay, on the report display, we also have multiple choices. So if I want to show more into the tabular format or more into the different format, it will show it to me. So let me show it to you. What do you mean? So let's say my original format was like this, right? And you also notice this, when I change any design, my count total will come back, you see, because it lost is what I have selected. So this is on the subtotal wise. So I do subtotal, do not do the subtotal. So this is what I have so far, right? And the report template is I have selected as a tabular format. It's keep there because it's more in table. If I don't want this blank rows to be filled, if I want this to be filled, I'll just say repeat all items, and you notice now it's filled it for me. So I know these are the two, and this is the one, right? There are some other format like a compact format. It was originally, when I bring it, it was like that. This is more like a different format. I'll prefer mostly the tabular format. It's easy to look into the data. Okay, and then you can customize yourself how you want it to do. So this is showing my city and the gender level count which I want to see. So this is invoices by city and gender, right? Okay, so now let's do this something by the product level, right? So which product are popular by which gender and which cities? Can you do that? Okay, try to do it yourself. If not, then refer to this sheet. If you are watching this, for me, I'll take the new pivot again just to preserve the work. So here I want to do product by gender and cities. Okay, so again I have to take the cities. Click here, let me increase the font. So yeah, one more thing. So look here, if I click anywhere outside, this will be gone, right? So if you click here on your pivot table, then only it shows the pivot fields. So don't get where it is gone, right? So you have to be careful on that. So again, I have taken cities and gender, but rather than taking the invoices, I want to see the product. What are the product lines are there? So these are the product lines by the cities and the genders, right? And next I want to see, okay, but I can do the again by the count. So I can move this like this, right? That this is by the city and each product, and it shows me the count by the gender, right? So I have moved the gender to the column to reflect that okay, with this city, these are the product and this is the distribution by the gender. I can do other way as well if you want, right? You can bring the gender to the column and put the product there. So what it's showing me now, it's giving me the more granular level here, right? It's giving me, okay, by immediately going to the cities, to the gender, and then showing me the product, right? So the product by the city, gender and city. This is basically what I would need to show, right? The product by city and gender. So this is here, and this is showing the subtotal. I don't want to see the subtotal, so then easy, go to the subtotal and this from the design and turn it off. Okay, so this is what I have. If you want to change the layout, again go there, put in the tabular format, and this looks much cleaner, right? Let me save my work before it's not saved. Let's do the same thing, but instead of the product, let's do on the sales side. So rather than going from the scratch, what I'll do, I'll copy this tab. So right click this and copy. And don't forget to say create a copy. I move to the right. So rather, now I rename this. I'll say income, right? Because in the data, they don't call it as a sales. I don't know why, but they call it as a income, gross income. So all I need to do is, if I come here and click this one, so I'll bring the gross income down and remove the count. Okay, so now it's giving me the dollar income by each cities and by the category. So how much the male and female is contributing to each cities for each product. This is I have. So if you want, I can quickly select all the data, right, and represent it nicely, right, in the dollar format. So now it's giving me dollar, which is more nice. Okay. If you, this is in blue. Okay, so this is how I have it. Now, one more thing I like to show it here. So this is, what is this? So this one, it's basically showing as a sum of the gross income, right? But instead of sum, if I want to say, okay, what is the average, right? How much is the average male and female? Because it might, some might have a little bit fluctuation, right? So I have other option as well. So if I click on this value icon and go to the value field settings, here you see I have the different options, right? Or the calculation. I can do the sum of the gross income. I can do the count on or average. Let me do the average on the gross income columns. I can do the max, min, whatever you want, right? Okay, so let me take this tab again and income and create a copy. Select this one, create a copy, check mark and click OK. It automatically creates the number 2 sign to distinguish from the first one. Move it to the right so we are in this. So I'll rename this by the average income. So I have my preset up and it will save the time rather than you go scratch, right? I usually do that, and it's more faster way of doing that. And I have all the product, gender and city, whatever I needed. I simply come here and then switch it to, so let me show you slowly. I click here in the drop down, go to the value setting and click average and okay, boom. So now you can see that's the average income coming, right, by male and female. So that's 13, 15 and all, right? So that's more easy to compare as compared to this dollar amount. So this is the one way, and there is a tremendous another way, right? Depend upon your imaginations and all. Before ending this video, I would like to let you know one more thing, so if I click on, let me go to the data. Okay, so this is my data. There are pre-built pivot tables which comes with the selected data which Excel wants you to look at. So if you want, those are sometimes nice as well. You can look into that. But before showing that, if you're new to the video, do give a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. It will help me to keep motivate and make this kind of video, right? So, okay, so I'll come to the data and go back to the insert tab. And instead of going to the pivot, which we have seen so many examples, let's do the recommended pivot. If I click this pivot, you can see here, it's showing me some of the options, right? That's, do you want the sum by the cities? Do you want the sum by the product and all? So let's take the first one, right? I want to do the sum of the total by the cities, which is shown here, and click OK. If you notice here, let me zoom it. It automatically selected that city in the row and the sum as a total and give it to me. I can select the whole and just little bit now analyze, home tab, and then put the dollar amount here, right? And pretty much good to go. So I can put this at the last. This is sum by cities. So this is how the pivot table is created. I hope you like it. Please give a thumbs up and let us know what you find, how exciting you is, what are the new data you are planning to do it. If you have any challenges, questions, or any other video you want me to cover on this channel, please put in the comment box and give a smash like button. Thank you and see you in next video. Bye for now.